Funding is provided by a grant from New York State Senator Catherine M. Young, representing Western New York's 57th District with a local office in Olean. Funding is provided by a grant from Absolute Care of Westfield, committed to returning the favor to those who spent a lifetime caring for others. Absolute Care is located at 26 Cass Street in Westfield. Dave Cass and Rick Newell provide funding on behalf of the Lakeview Hotel and Restaurant at the Docks, located on Water Street near the lake in Mayville. From the Access Channel 5 television studio in Mayville, it's Senior Report with Reed Powers. Join us live Saturday mornings between 9 and 10 a.m. in Fredonia, Mayville, and Silver Creek. Call in and share a thought or wish someone a happy birthday with Chautauqua County's only live on-air senior program. Reed continues in his 15th year with interesting guests expressing their viewpoints and informing the community on a variety of subjects. Here's the host of the show, Reed Powers.
Good morning. Obviously, I'm not Reed Powers. My name is Chris Burt. Reed is out, as you heard last week, on one of his wonderful cruises. He'll be out this week. Next week and the following week, we have John Hamels and Jim Subject coming up. Basically, what we're going to do is we have the Eclipse Rock Band? Okay. The Eclipse Rock Band will be coming on shortly. But first, I did get a note from the Mayville seniors about their last meeting, and they wanted me to tell you. Reed sent that to me and said, you better air this. So, the Mayville seniors met on October 7th with 46 members. They had a kitchen committee consisting Luis Richer, Don Wilson, Joyce Aries, and Eleanor Corionelis. Excuse me for reading, I don't memorize this stuff. All the October birthdays are read. There's tons of them, and there was no way I could pronounce half of those names. I had a tough time with the other ones. So I do want to say, though, that James and Arlene Kurtz, Bonnie and Doug Justin, and Jack and Fern Abrams celebrated anniversaries. The guest speaker was Mike Ricketts from the Chautauqua County Habitat for Humanity. We did a show, their dedication ceremony, and I don't know if you saw that, but that was a good show. It was about an hour long. Maybe we'll run that sometime soon. They just did their first house in Hartfield. Ray Bender was a new member, and as Reed always says, the new members are the life of the senior center, because I don't know if you've ever heard his stories about the ninja seniors or anything like that. If you do, you understand what I'm talking about. He always says that as they die off, they take a congressman with them. I've never seen that actually happen, though. The next meeting will be October 21st at the Mayville VFW. They're going to have David Foley. My dad would know who David Foley is. He had fun trying to interview him one day. Last minute notice. Anyone 55 and older is invited to come, and soon I'll be shipping off my dad and both Jeff Zook to go to there. I know they will love them so much. Speaking of that, Mr. Jeff Zook just had a birthday this week, as Facebook told me. Sometimes they put fake birthdays in there, but I'm pretty sure that it is absolutely correct. And I just wanted to wish him a happy birthday. Some other news around the world. I don't know if you heard, the 33 miners are out now, but they did keep the 5 other people to help them down there because they couldn't bring them back up because they couldn't strap themselves in. But beyond that, they are up and they are wearing $1,500 sunglasses, I did see. So that the lights, like in here, it's horrible with these new lights. I love LED, it gives an awesome picture, but trying to watch the camera is absolutely horrible because I can't see anything. So I'm just hoping that it's working. Other than that, Reed always talks about the war and stuff like that, and I have to say, you know, he says stuff about Afghanistan and it being, you know, everybody's tried to conquer them from Russia to everybody. But if you read a book, I'm going to give you a book to read. It's called Kite Runner. And if you just Google it, I know Google's used a lot for tons of stuff. So if you just say Google it, I know you can find it. But if you Google it, it's basically a story that goes through and it shows you that Afghanistan really does have culture. It really does. So, and it shows, you know, the kites, and then it shows when the Taliban moved in, what happened. They stopped being able to fly kites. And it shows that they really did have a culture before the Taliban moved in. Obviously, Taliban doesn't like culture, just like the Nazis didn't. But anyways, besides that, that's about what we're going to do. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce each of the guests that we have. We have 3 of them from the Eclipse Rock Band here. And we'll give them a couple minutes each to talk about where they stand in their lives, and then we'll start with some questions. So I'd like to welcome you guys. We have Brandon, Jackson, and Jeff. I believe Brandon and Jeff are cousins or brothers?
Brothers.
Okay.
Yeah.
I knew it was something like that.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll give Brandon just a sec to talk about where you are, what you think of the band, stuff like that.
Well, my name is Brandon, like Chris said, and we're in Eclipse, which we started off, actually our dads were all in a band back in the 70s, and it was called Equinox. And then about 2 years ago, we decided that we should, you know, maybe give this band thing a try. And we taught Jackson how to play bass because Jackson's dad was in a band with my dad. And we said, hey, how about we call it Eclipse? And we started out as like pretty much strictly classic rock, but we're kind of diversifying lately. And we're doing some reggae stuff, some more acoustic stuff, some softer stuff, some heavier stuff, but not too much heavier. And that's pretty much where we're at.
And so you joined the band. How did they court you? I mean, were you friends from kindergarten, or?
We were pretty much friends all the way up through school, and we were just, they were both musically gifted, and I hadn't really done anything musically, but they were like, we're just going to teach you express bass. So I learned bass very quickly. I'm not sure if I learned it all too well, but very quickly, and we got the band going right away. We started out with a little gig on my patio in my house for a couple people.
Yeah.
So that was our first experience with music, I think, at least for me.
All right, and you play the drums, so we have the lead vocals and lead guitar.
Yep.
We have the bass player, and then we have the drum player. I tell you, I couldn't keep a beat on drums if I tried. I took an audio class, and absolutely horrible. They had me do something. We were doing something with mics, and I couldn't keep a beat whatsoever. So, I mean, he said you were gifted, so I mean, I assume that means you have to be gifted to play drums, because I know I couldn't do it.
Well, I guess I started realizing that I kind of had something for the drums back when I was just a little kid, you know. I'd always get the pots and pans out and set those up, get my mom's wooden spoons out and beat around on those. I'd even put marbles in them, give them a few different sounds. Then when I was about, I think I was 7 when I got my first actual drum set, and that was pretty cool. It was just a miniature kid set, you know, but that lasted me until about 5th grade, till I upgraded to a full-size set. And somewhere in there I started private lessons that I took for around 5 years, and now I actually teach drums.
Oh, okay. So I guess the question, and I've talked with several people, and I told them I was going to have you as a guest on my show. They said, why Eclipse? Don't you know there's other bands named Eclipse? Couldn't you had a different name? I don't know. I just thought maybe someone would like to comment on the specific name Eclipse and why it was chosen.
You can take that.
Our parents' band name back in the 80s was
80s, yeah.
Equinox, and we kind of wanted to follow in their footsteps a little bit. And you know, it's kind of like the solar feel to it.
Yeah.
So we thought Eclipse sounded cool, and then we didn't really realize that there are as many other things named Eclipse.
Everything is named Eclipse.
Cars, gum.
I have a pack of gum in my pocket right now that's named Eclipse.
So there's obviously different things out there. Some of the other things that we specifically were talking about was specifically with your parents. You only get to play a few gigs each year.
Yeah. Well, we play music a ton because through our church, the Bemis Point United Methodist Church, we're all in a band called Forward Motion, and we lead worship on Wednesdays and Sundays for the youth group, which is how many kids? Like in the total youth group? It's pretty.
It's over 100.
There's quite a few kids.
It's around 200 youth involved.
200 youth, like, in the entire program, but, like, youth groups more like 50 or 60 every Wednesday. And we play a ton with that band, and really that's kind of comes first in our books. So practicing for that takes place above practicing for Eclipse. And Eclipse is kind of, it's more so for the gigs where someone says, hey, you want to come and play and just do some fun songs? And then we do the fun songs for Eclipse.
I know you play at Music in the Park each year, at least you have for the past 2 years that I've been down there doing some filming. And you have a song, Wanda.
Wanda.
Let Jackson talk about that.
Well, Wanda is about my boat. I was in 8th grade, and I got this, I wouldn't call it beat up, but it's beat up now. It was 1973 Thompson ski boat, and I'd always go on it with my friends, and we'd go out on it every day, just nonstop in the summer. So I got to thinking, you know what, I kind of want to write a song about Wanda. But the way we wrote the song, it almost sounds like we wrote it about a girl. It's a little interesting. We've had some comments about it thinking that we were with a girl, or I was with a girl, that wasn't so appropriate. But it's a funny song, and we have fun with it.
All right, right now what we're going to do is if Mr. Zook out there is ready, does that mean continue or what? I'm not quite sure what that means. Anyways, we'll ask another question then because I'm not quite sure he's ready. Basically, you brought with us today just some acoustic stuff, right?
Yep. Usually we have, when we play as a band, sometimes there's gigs that just, like, it's not really needed to have a whole band and big speakers and a big guitar amp and be loud and kind of obnoxious. So we've prepared like a set list of acoustic songs, and for those, they just work better with, like, I mean, it's not totally acoustic because we're acoustic and we have mics and stuff and we're plugged in, and Jackson's got an electric bass and Jeff's on a djembe, which is a hand drum, for those of you who aren't up with your African drum terminology. But we have a lot of fun going acoustic, and it's nice to mix it up.
All right, I'm going to have another question about acoustic after, but right now what we're going to do is we're going to take a PSA, and then we have Mr. Mort Flexer. And actually, when we come back, what we're going to do is we're going to have you play a song. So if Mr. Zook is ready, we can play a PSA, and then Mr. Mort Flexer can come out and do his little spiel.
I present to you Algebra 2. Foreign languages. And finally, biology.